What's up guys, Luke here from Luke's Points and Miles, and today I have an episode of Keep or Cancel. I feel like we haven't done one of these episodes in quite a while, but I do have a few annual fees coming up, so expect to see a couple in the first and second quarter of this year. Today I'm going to evaluate whether I'm going to keep, cancel, or downgrade my American Express Business Delta Reserve card. Yes, this is the card with a super cool limited edition 747 on the card. It created a lot of buzz when it came out, and I admit I bought into the hype at the time, and I wanted the limited run in addition to the super aesthetic metal purple card. Pause the video right now and comment below what you think I'm going to do with the card. I'm curious to see how many folks that regularly follow the channel will get this correct. Before we get into all that, if you're new to the channel, I talk about credit cards, points, miles, cashback, and travel. If you want to stay up to date with all those things, consider subscribing. And as always, if you get any value at all from this video, consider giving me a like. I'm a one-man show putting in all this work, and I appreciate the support. With all that out of the way, let's get started. Let's try to get a quick review of the card and who it's for, and then I'll break it down for my personal use case, and I'll tell you if I can decide now what to do with the card. First off, this is a business card, which definitely changes the game just a little bit. I'm not someone who's afraid to cancel a personal card, but that decision becomes much easier when it comes to business cards. This one does not report to my personal credit, so canceling the card will not affect my credit score. So many finance folks right now are at least open to a recession period in the near future, so it's not uncommon for businesses to limit their exposure to credit during these times. And this business card in particular is attached to my YouTube business, so it should go without saying it's attached to a very small business. Also, I want to mention that if you are interested in applying for this card or learning more about it, I will have a referral link in the description. Using the link below greatly benefits this channel, and it allows me to do more unsponsored content. This card is a Delta co-branded card, and it earns Delta Sky Miles. The current bonus for the card is 60,000 Delta Sky Miles for spending $4,000 in 3 months. When I got the card, it was during some elevated offers, and I believe I received 110,000 Delta Sky Miles for maybe $6,000 in spend. Either way, the elevated bonus seemed like a really good one. The current bonus, not as good. What does the card earn? This card isn't exactly an earning monster as far as bonus categories. It earns 3 times Sky Miles on Delta purchases. It earns 1 Sky Mile on everything else. But after $150,000 spent in a calendar year, that earning goes up to 1.5 miles per dollar spent. And the card comes with a premium $550 annual fee. Now that right there should raise an eyebrow. Yes, that is an awful lot, so there would have to be some serious benefits that come with this card, right? Well, let's go over them because it does have some great perks for Delta loyalists. Let me get this out there as well, because some of you will be thinking of authorized user cards. Those cards are $175 each. This card gives the user access to the Delta Sky Clubs when flying Delta. Now, I think very highly of Delta Sky Clubs, and I think that's a great perk, but guests or travel companions that don't have an authorized user card or their own card are going to be $39 per person up to 2 guests. So that is kind of limiting. But you will get 2 guest passes for Delta Sky Clubs each year, so that should help a little bit with the guest pass issue. When traveling on Delta flights, you'll also be granted access to the Amex Centurion and Escape lounges. The card comes with some other great perks, but I want to go through them quickly as this isn't a full review of the card. The card grants the user priority boarding. First checked bags are free, no foreign transaction fees, and a concierge service. It also provides tons of travel and purchase protections, as well as $100 TSA PreCheck global entry credit. Now we can talk about the card's superpowers. And these actually are pretty super. These benefits revolve around flying Delta Airlines, especially those that are interested in Delta Elite status. Without going completely into Delta Medallion status, I will keep this super simple. To climb the status ladder at Delta, you need to earn in certain categories. The first is Medallion Qualifying Miles, which is actual miles flown, or Medallion Qualifying Segments, which are actual flights. So if a flight from Columbus to Fort Lauderdale has a connection in Atlanta, that would be 2 segments. The other category you need to earn is medallion qualifying dollars. This is actual spending on Delta flights. Hopefully that oversimplification makes this a little easier to understand. Using this card, one could get a bonus for qualifying miles towards status. After spending $30,000, you'll earn a status boost of 15,000 medallion qualifying miles, and you can do that up to 4 times. This could actually catapult you up the status ladder if you're a high spender. The other benefit is you can spend your way to a medallion qualifying dollar waiver. Simply put, if you spend $25,000 on the card in a year, you will no longer be required to spend a certain amount on Delta flights. This makes achieving status much easier. Now for the big deal benefit, the companion certificate. Upon renewing the card, you'll be granted a companion certificate. After purchasing a ticket, you can receive a companion ticket, and this is good for domestic, first class, Comfort Plus, or main cabin round trip. This sounds pretty exciting for some folks, but there is one more perk, and it's a good one. This card gives a user access to complimentary upgrades, even if you don't have status with Delta. This card will add you to the upgrade list after all the Medallion Elite members. So depending on where you're flying out of, it could be a nice perk, or it could be next to nothing. That's a quick review of the card, and I think all in all, it's a great product for who it's meant to service. So let's talk about who this card is actually for. This card is for sure meant for Delta loyalists. And in my opinion, that doesn't matter if you fly from a Delta hub or not. Obviously it helps, but if your local airport has an escape lounge, a Sky Club, or a Centurion lounge, then this lounge access is great if you're flying Delta. So why did I get this card? Well, last year I wanted to really explore airline status, and our preferred airline was Delta. They just have a better hard product, and with lounge access, we really didn't mind connecting in Delta hubs. I will also say that when things went sideways, I've mostly had good experiences when dealing with Delta's customer service, as opposed to other domestic carriers. I also wanted to climb the ladder to platinum status and see what that upgrade life was all about. And how was it? Well, I have to say I learned a lot in the last year when it comes to how I travel, as opposed to how I wanted to travel. I tried so hard to be a Delta loyalist, but I fly out of Columbus, Ohio. The percentage of flights out of Columbus that are operated by Delta is just 10.3%. Now, when you factor in regional jets, it's a bit higher, but my point is trying to be loyal to Delta in my area was just too difficult. I often found myself not taking the best routes or not getting the best deals just to maintain that loyalty. Long story short, I was not able to earn status with Delta, even though I tried to schedule as many Delta flights as possible. My main issue was this: I didn't spend enough on Delta flights, mostly because I'm a deal seeker, and I didn't spend enough on the Delta Reserve to hit that waiver. Did I receive any upgrades? I did receive a couple upgrades to Comfort Plus, and I think I was moved to first class at least once, maybe twice. But here is some information about upgrades. If I booked the flight with my wife, we were eligible to be upgraded, and that's awesome. But if I booked a flight with my wife and my son, so 3 tickets, then we're not eligible for any upgrades. So I would find myself booking my flight separate, and my wife and I agreed we would alternate the first class upgrades. I have to admit that was kind of fun to see who could get the better seats, but was all that worth $550? Let's get into the value of the annual fee, at least in my personal situation. The lounge access, in my opinion, is a huge deal, but I hold the Platinum card, so I already have that access. The checked bags could be of tremendous value, but the way we travel, we generally only carry on. The priority boarding, I will admit, is nice if I'm in economy on a full plane, but I don't know if it's worth having the card just for that. I've learned that the status boost benefit is just not for me. I won't put $25,000 spend on this card just to earn a few sky miles. That money spent on other cards that earn transferable currencies will be much more beneficial to me, and I don't need the travel protections or the purchase protections. I have several cards that offer that. This card for me can probably come down to two things. 2 guest passes for my son to the Sky Clubs, and the companion certificate. Is $500 worth a first-class domestic ticket? Most likely, that math works in my favor, but here are some non-math factors I need to consider. I don't see too many times in the near future that I'm paying cash for domestic flights. I just have too many options to fly with points and miles. I'm afraid I'd be forcing that purchase. I'm also concerned about restrictions when using the companion certificate. Another issue is this. Delta is just not my preferred airline anymore, and they could well have fallen to 3rd place. And that's based on routes and prices and the fact that I have access to Chase Ultimate Rewards now, so United and Southwest have entered the game. Remember, I fly out of Columbus. Southwest provides 1/3 of all flights out of my home airport, and they have great direct routes. I know. After making fun of Southwest for 2 years, I've finally scheduled direct round-trip Southwest flights this summer. It wasn't the best deal, but the time savings of the direct flights for a short trip could make it a game changer for us as a family. Maybe I'll even try some of their Busch Light beer. Who knows? At the end of the day, I gave this card an honest try, and I received a really good bonus, but my travel style has drastically changed, and I'm much more likely to book a Delta flight using Virgin miles, and if I want upgraded, I'll just book a first class ticket in the first place. So is this decision that easy, cut and dry? Well, no. First, there is a consideration of a product change or a downgrade. On the business side, American Express still has the Delta Platinum and Gold Sky Miles cards. I've had the Gold in the past, and that one really only makes sense if I check bags. The Platinum is likely a better card for me, but if I product change, I would not get that bonus. I think we can all agree on how valuable those bonuses are. And I think if I were to go that route, I would cancel this card and then apply for the Platinum. But I don't think that's going to happen. Since a product change likely doesn't make sense, there's only one thing that could sway my decision, and that's a retention offer. In my opinion, you should contact your credit card issuer every year to ask about retention offers. The worst they can say is no. I always like to have my decision set before I contact the issuer, and I'll tell you what my decision is right now. I want to cancel this card. I could probably make the math work in my favor, but I'm moving towards simplification and paring down the stable as well as my spending. So this is how I will play it. Once this annual fee hits, I'm going to contact American Express and ask if there are any retention offers available for me. I do have a price, and that price is either a large statement credit or 50,000 Sky Miles. 50,000 Sky Miles is enough to force that companion certificate and keep this card open another year. So tell me in the comments, am I wanting too much to keep the card open? It's a lot to ask, but business is business, right? Also, I want to remind you, if you want more information or you want to apply for the Amex Delta Business Reserve, I will leave a link in the description below. And if you stayed around all the way to the end, I appreciate you and I thank every single one of you.